Are you parenting from old wounds without even realizing it? I'm going to talk about 5 common childhood traumas that are shaping the way we are parenting our kids today. I'm Lisa, a child behavioral expert and parent coach with over a decade of experience as a pediatric occupational therapist. As a mom, I know firsthand how easy it is to fall into old patterns and do things that our parents did raising us. I also know how easy it is to do a complete 360 and do the complete opposite of what our parents did for the sake of trying to raise our kids in a better way. I've worked with over 100 parents who came to me feeling extremely overwhelmed, feeling like there were just so many different messages being told to them on how to parent their kids properly these days. There was so much fear and anxiety and this need to be perfect parents when raising your kids. And what's interesting is many of these parents didn't realize that there were so many aspects of their childhood and upbringing that were influencing the way that they were parenting their own kids. Through working with me, these parents worked through breaking generational trauma and cycles that were causing so much pain and heartache within their families. I helped them to challenge unhelpful patterns that were causing more harm than good to their kids. And I also helped them to uncover the right approach that was suitable for their child's specific and unique needs. In this video, I'm going to show you how to recognize what you're unconsciously passing down to your kids and what you need to be doing instead in order for you to be creating a healthy and more harmonious relationship with your child. So if you're a parent watching this, you are likely a millennial parent or you're at the tip ends of the Gen X, Gen Z generation. And so many of us, we grew up with parents who came from the baby boomer generation, and many of them used a more strict or authoritarian type of parenting approach. Their mentality was do as I say, you must work hard, and our feelings and emotions were not talked about much. To be frank, this type of parenting approach really messed up our generation. We have now a generation of parents who feel this need to be perfect because of the high expectations that were held on us. We were not allowed to make mistakes, and we felt really bad when we did. And so now we are stepping into the role as a parent, and we're still holding these very high standards. On top of that, we've got social media putting so much pressure on us. So with all of these internal and external pressures, we are expecting that we are going to do the best that we can for our kids and never screw up. So many of us are swinging to these other sides to parenting. We saw what didn't work with our parents who were very strict and authoritarian, and now we're swinging to a different side where we're trying to be more gentle. We're trying to be more understanding, listen to our kids' feelings, validate them. We're also wanting to be our kids' best friends. We want to have a great relationship with them. But with that, we are swinging way too much to the other side where we're seeing a lot of parents kind of getting into this gray area of permissiveness, where they're struggling to figure out where to set proper boundaries, who is actually in control of your house. And we're seeing a lot of kids now who are in this alpha generation having a lot more control than kids ever did in any other generation. So our parenting now has become a trauma response where we are afraid to say no to our kids and fear that they are not going to like us. We're afraid of putting firm boundaries down because we think that that's going to make them feel unhappy and that's going to mess up our kids. But overall, by doing this, we are actually not setting enough parameters for our kids, and it's causing even more damage to our kids. If you're struggling to find the right balance to your parenting approach, I'm here to support you. Through my parent coaching, I offer strategies to help you understand what is going to be the best approach for your child and their specific needs. We break free from the extremes of parenting, the authoritarian side and also that permissive side to parenting that we know damages our kids. Instead, we find a parenting approach that feels right for you, that honors both you and your child in this relationship, supporting both their needs and yours. If you're ready to create a healthy and balanced relationship with your child, check the link out in the description box. Before we get into these 5 childhood traumas, if you haven't already, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out to reach as many parents like yourself who need this information. In order for us to break free from this cycle, we need to unlearn these 5 mindsets that are stemming from our childhood traumas. Number 1 is perfectionism and fear of making mistakes. Now, we have to remember that we are all human, and as humans, we all make mistakes and we cannot be perfect. When we set this high expectation that's super unrealistic of being perfect parents, and always responding to our kids in the right way all the time. What we do is unintentionally put that same type of pressure on our kids. We then unintentionally expect our kids to be perfect, to not make mistakes as well. And when we do that, we're taking away the opportunity for them to learn. Because remember, our kids learn through making the small mistakes. And that's actually what helps them to build resiliency. And our need for perfectionism also means that we often swoop in too early. Because if we see our kids struggling with something, they're feeling frustrated over a homework assignment or something didn't go their way, we immediately swoop in because we want to fix the problem. And that in itself is the problem. We have to let our kids learn how to work through those tough feelings, because that is what's going to help build grit and emotional regulation and emotional resiliency. And if we don't give them that opportunity, they'll never learn how to do it. Number 2 is being afraid of being too strict. Again, this goes back to us growing up with very strict parents, and we saw that strictness made us feel a certain way, that we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to give our kids more leeway to do things in life. So then when we're not being strict enough, that means we're often taking away a lot of the parameters for them. We don't set enough boundaries, especially now with screens. Screens are everywhere. Our kids are constantly surrounded by it. It's likely your kid has their own phone or iPad or some sort of device, and we're giving way too much leeway in the use of their screens. And what I'm finding is a lot of parents right now are having a very hard time figuring out how to set the right boundaries around screen time use. And so when it is time for your child to put things away, they're struggling to know, how do I actually get my kid to transition off of it without that big meltdown that they're facing? It ends up feeling like a back and forth battle where you're telling them to put it away. They're saying no, you give them 5 or 10 minutes, and then you come back, tell them again, they're saying no again, and then you end up yanking it out of their hands and it's yelling and screaming galore. That is where boundaries are not being set properly. And this is where we're falling into this permissive side, and then you kind of end up having to be strict, and then it just causes a big explosion in your home. So the real solution to this is knowing how to set those really firm boundaries right from the get-go. So this is what it would sound like. You would tell your child that you have 15 minutes on their screens. When the 15 minutes is over, it's going to be time for them to put it away, and if they can't, you will have to take it away from them. Now, let's say that 15 minutes has passed, you gave them that warning, telling them it's time to put it away, and they are saying no. They're yelling, they're kicking, they're cursing at you because they really don't want to put that screen down. So in that moment, this is what the boundary will sound like. I get that you're upset right now, but the 15 minutes is over and it's time to put away that screen. Your child may still kick and scream. They may still be very upset and not willing to do it, but you need to hold firm on that boundary and repeat again, I know you're feeling upset and it looks like it's hard for you to put that iPad away, so I'm going to have to take that. And that's where you go in and you take the iPad and you put it away. Your child may have a big meltdown, yes, because it is hard for kids to transition, especially off of screens, when their brains have been overstimulated and they have to put something that's so fun and to put it away. It's a really hard thing. It's a very disappointing and frustrating feeling for them. So it is okay that your child's having that meltdown. The most important thing is that you're staying true and firm on your boundary. And the more consistent you are with this, those meltdowns will decrease over time. Number 3 is needing validation from others and even our kids. We need to let go of this mindset, because if we are always comparing ourselves to our friends and our neighbors and our relatives on how they're parenting, how they're raising their kids, it will always be a losing battle for us. We do not need to feel validated that we are doing enough for our kids by everyone else around us. That has to come from yourself. So doing things like putting your kids in every kind of extracurricular, because that's what people are doing these days, or taking your kids to that awesome amusement park or on a really cool family vacation trip, just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it. You have to look at what's going on in your own means within your own family and see if that even makes sense for you. Because what I have been seeing is that so many parents feel this pressure to keep up with everyone else that they start to overdo things. And what that does, it causes so much stress within the family, because you feel like you have to keep up this image to keep up with everyone else. You need to have that really awesome vacation where you're going to take the photos and put it on Instagram and show it off to everybody else. But you do not need to do that because that's going to stress you out, and in turn, it's going to stress out everyone else in your family. Parents today are also feeling like they need their kids to like them. And this is like almost like a friendship kind of thing. Like you want your kids to like you like a friend. And the thing is, your kids can't like you like a friend because you're going to have to make decisions that they are not going to like because you are their parent. There are going to be times where you can't get them that game that they have been begging you for because they didn't follow the rules and boundaries that you set for them. So if you're setting rules and boundaries and you're saying, well, I'm going to get you that next Xbox game or PlayStation game that you've always wanted, and they don't follow through with that rule or boundary, and you still get it for them because you don't want them to not like you, that is not the way to go about parenting. This is going to create entitled kids. It's going to make them think that they don't have to set high standards for themselves and fulfill them, because at the end of the day, mom or dad is still going to get them what they want. Number 4 is overvaluing achievement. When we focus too much on the achievement, the success of something, and we don't focus on the actual effort, we're teaching our kids that same thing. And we know that the effort means so much more, because when you put in that work, when you've been trying so hard to study to do well on that test, that is what matters the most, because that's what's actually going to take you far in life. Not that one little test that your child happened to not do so well on because it was difficult. It's the actual effort. When we can teach our kids that work ethic is way more important than getting the reward, getting that, trophy, that is what's going to teach them how to work hard in life to try to achieve great things in their life. So when we teach our kids to focus on the effort, it also helps to pique their curiosity and helps them to enjoy the process of the thing that they're doing. Because if we keep focusing on that end result, then we lose out on all that growth that can happen and the excitement of actually learning and doing new things. And number 5, prioritizing feelings over everything. So just because we grew up in a time where our parents didn't prioritize our feelings and emotions, and a lot of us, we suppressed so much of our emotions. Many of us in our parenting era now, we are trying to do the opposite. We want to make sure that our kids' feelings are always being heard. We're validating their feelings all the time. But the problem with this is that we're sitting in their feelings too much and there's no action to go with it. So for kids feeling sad and upset, we're validating, saying that I know you feel so upset right now. I know this is so hard for you. But then where is the solution to that? Because we don't want to teach our kids that their emotions and feelings dictate everything else, because then you start to create a generation with so much mental health issues because they don't know how to overcome. They don't know how to work through the tough feeling. And so we are seeing a lot of kids with very low frustration tolerance. They don't know how to delay gratification and feel the discomfort of waiting for something because we are just sitting in that feeling so much and we're trying to rush through it, and we don't want them to feel bad about those feelings. But sometimes we got to let them, right? If they need to wait, we don't have to always give them that freeway to just like, okay, then just go ahead. You don't have to wait for your turn, just because then that's going to end up in a big meltdown. We have to also learn as parents that yes, they're having a hard time with that feeling, but we need to sit with them in that feeling so that they can work through it. And that is the skill of emotional regulation. And that is actually built through the co-regulation piece. So it's between you and your child working together on regulating them. So if, let's say, they are feeling very frustrated, they have a big meltdown or a tantrum, and if you're trying to swoop in because that feeling feels so uncomfortable for them, and you're trying to prioritize and help them get out of it and feel happy again, you're taking away the opportunity for them to build that grit and resilience to work through the feeling. And so what you need to do in that moment instead is co-regulate, which means you need to remain calm. They're going to still spiral in their feelings and those emotions, and that is okay, but you're holding your ground firmly, staying calm, and letting them feel your energy. It's them seeing how you're handling your own emotions in that moment, and that's going to help them to calm down and regulate their nervous system. And that is the beginning processes of building emotional regulation skills that is absolutely essential for your child to develop now in their childhood, so that they can be functional, independent adults in the future. So unlearning these patterns is very hard. It's rooted in our own childhood traumas, and you cannot do this all on your own. In order for you to work past the traumas, break the cycles, you do need guidance in order for you to do this properly. And don't worry, you are not alone in this, because through my coaching, I offer the guidance and support that you need to help you break these cycles. It's going to help you to find the right parenting approach that's suitable for your child, so that you can build connection and a harmonious relationship with your child. If you're ready to make this change, check out all the information in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. And please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on an episode like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.